Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. If you are watching, you're not watching the England game. Boo if you are. Yay if you're not. It's me, Dora, and bath time. It's the Monday edition of the Man United Agenda. How you doing, bath time? How you doing, Dora?
Good, good.
Yes, I'm very good. I feel that today is the turning of the tide, Mr. B.
In what situation? It's either that your Sunday team won, or you're talking about the future of Manchester United. So talk to me.
I'm talking about the future of Manchester United. My Sunday team did win, and we played against 10 men for the majority, so it was it was very fun. It's one of the fastest sendings off I've ever seen. A guy I think he was drunk. He went absolutely mental after 2 minutes. Like, it was like, it was really weird. I haven't seen anything like that before. But as always, if I know we got like sort of Matthew Bassett and Ed Mayhem play a bit of Sunday League as well. So let us know how you all got on at the weekend. But did you win?
No, we lost. I
How
had
much?
to play. I had to play 83 minutes of the game. We had a lot of pullouts in the morning. And the person who which sort of trialing, he pulled up after 3 minutes and spent the next 4 minutes on the floor. So I had to play the rest of the game. So let's just say that me at 51 against those 18 and 19-year-olds, it wasn't much fun. So no, we lost 4-1.
Oh,
And yeah, I lost my shit. I did. I'm going to be serious. I went bonkers. I did a little. My weekly match vlog was as sweary as it's been for the 10 games that we've played. But look, it is what it is, man. It is what it is. We'll beat them in the rematch, I'm sure.
Yes.
You don't play football, do you, Dora?
Oh, I wish. I wish. I always wanted to play football because, I actually had how do you say it? I don't want to say talent, but I was quite good at it. Whenever I played with, other people against other kids and all that. But I mean, I learned English, I learned German, I had so many things on my plate during those years. And you know what? Another, I was singing in the choir, school choir. What else I was doing? Like I did all sorts of things, and I I physically couldn't go to a football, to train football. And I was actually quite sad about it years later, like in high school, because I saw our women's team and I saw that they are mediocre. And I always felt like, oh, maybe if I, was trained and, I showcase something, I would go to a bigger city and maybe play there for a local club or something like that. Because in my city, it shut down. The club shut down in 2015, which was sad, the women's section. So yeah, I'm kind of regretting it, but yeah, I had a lot of my plate, but at least I'm watching it a lot, both women's, both men's football. So at least something. Maybe not my physique. I would love to be more fit and all that, but yeah, I mean, I always enjoy football, and that's my only regret, big regret in my life. If I have to,
oh.
think about it. Yeah,
But
I
what
wish I
sort of
played
player
football
were you,
more.
Dora? I
Oh,
Reno
I love.
Gattuso comes to mind for some reason.
Oh my god, I
Aggressive.
knew it. I love like yeah, I know what you mean, but I always like I know people don't like, Wayne Rooney for all kinds of reasons, but he's my favorite player of all time. Because of him I started watching, and of course David Beckham at times. I started watching and loving Manchester United and the way they played during that era. And I, as an archetype, I thought that Rooney was a complete player. He was good in the air. He was, fast. He was, technical and all that. And I wanted to be like, someone like him, because I was a bit short. I'm a bit shorter person. I'm like 5'5", or 163 centimeters in our metrics. So I'm quite, short, but, I wanted, I was, fast and I was strong and I wanted to be, just like Wayne Rooney, I would, kick everyone. But yeah, Gattuso is like, he was a good player. He was a good player, but he liked to kick people more at times. But yeah, I wanted to be like Wayne Rooney because I loved the way he played. I absolutely loved it.
Zoe, me and you are twins in that regard. Then yeah, he's my favorite.
Yeah,
But yeah, he was really
he
good.
was great.
But above time, you want to say how do these
Yeah.
our agenda up for the day?
We've got Matthew Bassett, who I was just mentioning, saying, good evening all. How did you get on at football, Matthew? We got Zoe's Media House saying hello to everyone. Big up everyone on the show and in the chat. And obviously we've got Zoe talking about Brian Robson. And we've got Rebel coming in, basically saying that the media know nothing again. And it's important to point out that the New York Stock Exchange will be closed during Thanksgiving. So if nothing is done before that, we'll play our next game without it resolved.
When's Thanksgiving? I have no idea when Thanksgiving is.
I think it's... Is it Friday?
I have no idea.
24th of November. That date. I don't know Thanksgiving as well. We don't have it.
Oh, it's just another day off, I suppose. Another day to stuff their face and shoot people. But look, agenda for the day. Ineos in. We are actually top of a league, but it's the top of the injury list league. Joint with Newcastle. We'll have that shown for you. Luke Shaw is back, thank God. Rashford might be able to do something where I'm clinging to anything, and we've got a new centre. We've got a new centre back linked in January or the summer, according to BATHTIME. So BATHTIME, you'll put me, and I was hoping it was January, and then you added the summer to it and killed my vibe. So look, we'll find out what the hell is going on here, guys. But what we're going to start with today, BATHTIME. What do you fancy? What do you feel like picking up on?
I feel like talking about Ineos and the takeover.
Let's go. What you got?
Well, so friend of the show, Malikins, or I think it's called Phil De Bruyne or something, or Phil Brown on Twitter. He has I think he's related to Roy Keane. He's got good links with the club and so forth. He's given a here we go on the takeover, saying that it's essentially being completed today. More details will come out during the week, and he then proceeds to talk about how there's just ridiculous things that are going to happen. That Ten Hag and players and previous managers have all been betrayed by a corrupt, incestuous, nepotistic regime, which I'm not a bit. I like to think. Right, I'm probably being a bit silly here, Dora. You can help with me with this. I like to think that people like Ed Woodward, Murtagh, Arnold, Fletcher, I think all of them have tried their absolute best for Manchester United, and have come up lacking. I don't think that the only one I take a bit of exception to is Woodward. I think that he was a bit more egotistical and he liked being a big man. But I think that the rest of them all tried really, really hard. But I'm delighted to see the back of them, and we got. It's the turning of the tide. This is the start of getting the club back, I feel, and so I'm really positive about what's happening, and I hope that everyone else is too. I mean, Dora, what are your thoughts on the takeover?
Well, I'm with you. I'm absolutely delighted. The news of Richard Arnold and potentially Jim Murtaugh leaving have put a smile on my face these last few days. I'm not going to lie. I didn't like them because, and I would agree with you. I think that maybe except Ed Woodward because he was a snake, and I don't believe he was a pure banker, only thinking about money, nothing else. I think that these three, and I'm curious about Darren Fletcher and if he's going to stay at the club as well, because he's a technical director. And I'm going to be completely honest with you. It's not that I actually researched it. I still don't know what that guy does in the club. I'm so sorry about it. Maybe you guys can, enlighten me. But, at least with these two, you knew what is happening. The same goes with Hagrives, who was leading the negotiations and blah blah blah. I'm glad that they are going to leave, because I, even though I think that they tried, I think that they weren't experienced enough. I know that Murto was ahead of recruitment before, for something I can't remember, but he was never a proper director of football, which is what the biggest clubs in the European football have. And you can see that Manchester United is, we in Croatia like to say 3 dana iza drvene kašike, or
Of
3 days
course.
behind. 3 days. We like to say 3 days behind wooden spoon. That's Manchester United. We are so far behind everyone else at the top level, and yeah, literally 3 days before a wooden spoon. We are still clinging on those historic days. Woodward created a lot of sponsorships, and we are a brand. But unfortunately for the footballing side of things, we are not a great football club. We are not ran really well. And I think this is, even though I was kind of skeptical about the 25% Ineos, this is only the beginning. I don't know what will happen in the future, but this is a positive. I think that we need football people. And if those guys that are speculated to come, and the ones that we discussed on one of United Agenda's shows, like Blanc, like Paul Mitchell, like the Bike Boy, as you like
Bike
to
boy.
say. I think that this club is finally steering in the right direction.
What I find interesting, Dora, about that expression, is it like saying United are 3 days behind a wooden spoon or something?
Yeah, yeah.
Well, something I spoke to my dad about the other day, who's also like a lifelong United fan, is Bike Boy. His whole thing is built on this like 1% idea. That, like, you come in, you change the mattresses, you paint stuff a different colour, and you get these incremental gains that all add up. And that eventually sort of gets you over the line to win a title. But I also wonder if, because we're 3 days behind the wooden spoon, that the 1% gains aren't enough, and that we're going to have to make dramatic leap forwards. We're going to have to make 25%, Mr. B, instead of like 1%. And I'm really intrigued. Like, okay, what would you think those would be, Mr. B?
I was going to say, how far off do you think we are then? Because obviously, with the recruitment side of it, we know we've been lacking. It sounds like the guys that they want to get in are best in class, where we haven't necessarily we haven't had that. So if we start with the recruitment side of it, what do you feel is going to be the next sort of thing to be moved? Is it going to be the training ground, or do you feel that's going to be done as the season's going? Do you think they're going to set that up for close season so it's ready for the start of the new season? How fast do you think that they're going to be able to move?
Well, I mean, Ineos are a conglomerate, right? They're like the Empire. They're absolutely everywhere. And although I've always been much more pro Ratcliffe than like Qatar, I think, we talked about this before, but I lived in an area where we woke up one day and Jim Radcliffe had carpet bombed the whole town with asbestos. It was like Christmas, just heavy metals everywhere. Like, shout out to all my lads in Darlington. Yeah, like the stuff Ineos do is pretty horrible with pollution and things, but they do get stuff done. And I think that we saw maybe in July. Upgrades were made to Carrington for the women's facilities, and they opened maybe like within the last 3 weeks, and they look really nice and stuff like that. So I think Carrington's pretty easy to develop. We own lots of land around it. We got planning permission for it. Easy to go. But I wonder if that's where the focus is going to be, because right, Dora, do you know The Apprentice, the TV show?
Yes, the American one, right? Where I think Donald Trump was in it. Is that one?
Yeah,
you're
right.
talking
So
about. Yeah.
we got a British one, right, with Sir Alan Sugar, and every year, without fail, they do an interview where they say to the apprentices, "It's day one. You come in, you've got the job. What are you going to do on day one?" And they always say the same thing. They always go, "Look, what I'm going to do, right, is I'll completely revolutionise everything. I'm going to go around, I'm going to kick ass, I'm going to take names, I'm going to be amazing." And then the guy says to them, "How are you going to do that without knowing anything about the business?" And he goes, "Don't matter. My name's Peter, and I get things done." But the point is, right, is that I think that when Mr. B talks about like how we're going to upgrade the training ground, how we're going to do all this, Ratcliffe has sent Bike Boy in, or Beresford or whatever he's called, to do a review of everything for like about 100 days, and they're going to go through all the things that need to be sorted, and there's a lot for like everything they'll go through, and they'll make a list of priorities of what they can get done, what they can action quickly and efficiently. And at the moment, I don't think that any choices will have been made about the training ground, about like sorting out broken drains in Old Trafford. They'll all be on a they'll all be things that they want to address, but there won't be an order yet. What I'm interested in from you two is what do you think on the sort of the playing side and the stadium side? So the things that we as fans like experience. What do you think will be the top things that need to be addressed?
Are you asking me, right?
Well, Mr. B's muted, so you might as well.
Yeah.
No swearing, Mr. B.
I don't know. I think the stadium has been appalling. I think that I'm not very familiar. I wasn't ever at Old Trafford, but with people I speak, daily, who actually go there, and the how do you say it? The state, the fans who witnessed, the wall falling down on them or whatever. Like, this is an issue. I think that Old Trafford is a historic stadium, not just for the city of Manchester, but for UK, for England, and I think even if you look at it from that point of view, and footballing side, I think it needs to be addressed. I think that first and foremost, yes, the players need to be taken care of on that stadium, but the fans as well. And I don't want to see another post on Twitter saying, "Oh, I was almost killed by a wall," or I am wet because the roof is leaking non-stop. I think the fans in that from that point of view need to be protected, and I think that's the most important thing. But when it comes to other things, I think the infrastructure was always, even that Ronaldo interview with what's his face, Piers Morgan, him saying that when I came here 20 years later, it's still the same, blah blah blah. You know what? Even though he was a prick in that interview, I believe him. I don't think he would lie there. And I think that infrastructure is always needs to be on top, because the players are going to feel better, the players are going to perform. As that Bike Boy says, if we do this, then the players are going to give their 1% or 2%, and that will multiply as the games go on and blah blah blah. But I think, like, the football inside, I think this club is still stuck in 2014. I think the club still thinks that Manchester United is this absolutely. It's like at the times it felt like United won a Premier League last season, and we are throwing money at stars from other leagues, even though those stars are not stars anymore. They were 5 years ago, or they just simply declined, and the big clubs are getting rid of them, and we are throwing money at them. I don't think that we or the board or the scouts, they didn't identify the talent for the future. They always went, we need to win now mode. And I think that with the climate change, with the climate of football changing over the years of buying smartly, buying players with profiles that are actually going to stick in the team immediately, or or they are going to fit within the team in the next few games with the help of the coaches and the manager and all that. I think United failed, and of course it didn't help that we changed what 6 managers in the last 10 years. So that's an issue as well. I think that everything is important by the end of the day, and I know that we cannot, I know that Ineos cannot, throw money on everything and expect, oh my God, we need to win now next season. I think that this club needs a massive restructure, and I think we will go through a lot of how do you say it? A lot of bad patches. If you think this is a bad patch, I expect even worse at this point, because nothing is solved within 12 months after years and years of being so poor. So yeah, to answer your original question, what do you think is important? At the end of the day, the more I talk, I think everything is important. But yes, infrastructure in the context of this question, I think infrastructure is, of course, important. I think the fans need to feel safe on that stadium, and if they watch the game and they are afraid some people fall on their heads, I don't think that's an enjoyable experience. As much as we all love Old Trafford and want to be there or whatever.
I'm gonna say I didn't know anything about any falling concrete or falling bits of debris. I thought Rebel was on the wind up. So if that true, then that's changed the order of what I was gonna say. I was gonna say the playing side of it and the recruitment side, and maybe the stadium would have been left. Maybe not until the end, but the back end of everything. But is it really? Are you on the wind up? Are bits really falling down?
I think it was a women's game yesterday. Was it a Manchester Derby women's game? Yeah. I think someone posted on Twitter that look, I'm Croatian. Look, I was walking, in Osijek, and literally a rock almost fell on my head because it was windy and no one put whatever on the picture or on the photo on the internet. It was like pieces of rocks fell down on a fan or whatever. It's nothing dangerous, but one day it's small, the other day it's going to be a whole how do you say, piece of wall actually falling on your head. And I'm not saying it's the stadium is literally falling apart and it's going to fall apart tomorrow, but it's only the beginning, right? I mean, I experienced that it's not very nice, especially if you're walking or by a really old or semi-old building, and it's really windy or something is happening or whatever, and then it's just I mean, I almost got whacked with a piece of a wall. When a few years ago, I was talking to my mom, and all of a sudden, it felt like this in front of me. It's almost, fell on my head. So yeah, I think the fans should be taken care of in that aspect. But of course, as a fan of United, I would always, I always criticize the board and all that, and I need them to be good. I need footballing people in that boardroom to fix this bad situation. I mean, it's funny to you, but it happens. I mean, it happens. One day it's a small, piece of concrete. The other day it's like a half of a wall. You never know.
Do you want to go through some of these comments, please?
Oh, I love Dora's little stories.
Sorry if my almost death makes you laugh, guys. Sorry about that.
No, don't. It's a gift. Steph's here saying, "Dig up Mr. V, Dora, and bath time." Emma K, Denmark is currently losing 1-0 to Northern Ireland, but hey ho, hope you guys are good. Emma, obviously being Danish, and Emma is saying we got 7 likes. Thank you. Sorry, Stephanie's saying that. My apologies. Zoe's Media House. Have you seen the Yassim hardcore support still clings on to a belief that Qatar will come in, and yet nothing is done yet? I mean, I don't know what really to say about it, Zoe. We don't really sort of get involved in the takeover too much until there's things we can research and talk about here. And I personally think that some of our best work was the takeover show that we did. And you'll notice that all the people we profiled are now the ones linked to come in. But a lot of people sold a dream on social media that Qatar was the answer, and I understand why some people feel disappointed and stuff. But as I say, I feel today is the turning of the tide, like the Battle of Helm's Deep. So Rebel is saying, Woodward was an accountant banker whose main directive was to drive commercial income for the purpose of a divided generation, was never qualified to hold the role he did, but he was mates with the owner. Yeah, it's the Peter principle, basically, isn't it? Where you get promoted to a level where you become incompetent. And Woodward delivered the club to Malcolm Glazer, essentially. So happy days. Emma Kay saying Jassim should still come in and buy a percentage of the club, like Sir Jim is doing. I think that's extremely unlikely. Look, they're just having a chat about the Sheikh. What's UK Strain's got to say? He says he's completely bored of talking about Manchester United. I'm tired and mentally drained from the decline. I agree, but have you ever just been walking with your mum and like walls have started flying at you? Okay. What's Stephanie Griezmann? Yeah. And then we got UK Strain just saying hello. We've got Rebel saying, based on the pace of the takeover, depending on what the terms of the buyout, probably looking at 3 to 5 years. And Andrew Williams is in the house, and he's calling us his lovelies, Mr. B. Are you happy with that? Yeah. He's extremely happy with that.
I'll take that. Thank you very much.
And he's thanking Stephanie for counting the likes. And then he gets stuck into the main business, saying he fell asleep when he was listening to me. Let's see, is there anything there? More than just broken pipes in the stadium now, clumps of concrete falling on areas where fans traverse. I have to say I'm a bit with Mr. B on this. I didn't know about this, and I think this is absolutely disgraceful. I mean, I've been to the Colosseum in Rome, which is a couple of thousand years old probably, and no point was stuff falling down on me. Yeah. Like, you go to Old Trafford, you look up, like, what do you not see? You don't see a screen, like, or anything like that. You just see a big, like, lump of rock coming towards you.
Yeah, I think that.
But isn't Harry Maguire?
I think that Old Trafford and Yugoslavian buildings are quite the same. If my experience.
Yeah, breaking up, have to rebuild. I
mean, the Yugoslavian wall almost killed me a few years ago because that's the building from those times. So yeah, I totally get it.
All right. Well, Zoe's saying something, which is we don't really cover the Manchester United women's team enough on this channel, but she's saying I hope Sir Jim sorts out the team and that there is a plan. The manager has to go now. And Mr. B, there's something that I see mentioned a lot is that Mark Skinner is not popular with Manchester United supporters.
So why is it? I thought they did well last season, and I thought they were doing okay before the beating they got from Man City on Sunday.
Yeah, I think they
missed out
on a Premier League title last season. I don't know what is happening. I think they lost the Manchester derby yesterday, 2 days ago. I don't know. I watch their games, but I'm not that kind of into the news around the club, around women.
I watched 20 minutes of it, and the score was 3-1, and we had a player called Jay-Z playing, who looked pretty good. Like, honestly, there's like Jay-Z. And then UK Strains is saying something that I think is quite interesting. He says, I think Eth will struggle with this team and will be gone in 2 years, 100%. I think it's much closer than that. I think it's, I do. I think I think that Eth will. You don't spend billions and not have your own guys in place. Like we're seeing that now with Blanc, Mitchell, Bress, Bike Boy coming in.
Okay.
Yeah, but no. What's your comeback?
No, I'm just thinking. are people unhappy? I'm not unhappy with the job that Ten Hag's doing at the moment, but obviously, am I in the minority?
Well, I think you are. Like, we've had like record defeats against City and
I get it,
Liverpool.
I get it, I get it, but I just feel that he hasn't been given. I'm going to say he hasn't been backed. He has to a certain extent, but they're not the players that he wanted. They're not the first choice players that he wanted, and the fact that he had to be choosing the players that he knew because he couldn't trust the scouting department. I'm thinking maybe if he has a list of he wants a fast left-footed right back who can do backflips and stuff and gives that to them, they'll find four of them who can do exactly what he wants. Maybe I don't know. I just feel that he hasn't been backed and he hasn't had the time to the players. But obviously, maybe I am. Maybe I am in maybe I am in the minority. It just
I think you are wrong here because he asked for a centre forward, and the scouting team came up with Hoyland.
I don't have a
Like,
problem with Hoyland.
I don't think anyone has a problem with Hoyland. He's performed better than I thought he would. Would still like him to score some goals in the Premier League. Like, Heath is the guy that went 80 million on Anthony. Like,
Do you think it was him or do you think it was the club? This is my point.
I think it's him. I think it's him. Wasn't there a whole news that Ten Hag actually leads the recruitment. He says, "Okay, I want this player, and they need to sign him." Is that well?
Dora,
I'm
pleased you asked this. In the minutes from the Manchester United fan forum published in June of this year, they outlined how players are recruited to Manchester United and how the scouting worked. And it's basically the scout team plus Ten Hag. So it's either or. And
that's not good.
Yeah, and they have to kind of agree on it. With a director of football, there'll be three of them, which will be much better. And because the director of football has a longer term vision, as you want them to be here for 5, 6, 10 years, at least more than one football cycle of 7 years. I think that will all work better. But we know that Amrabat was was Ten Hag. We know Anthony was Ten Hag. We know that Hoyland was the scout team. We know that Malathea was Ten Hag, and that Martinez was Ten Hag, and that Anana was agreed with the scout team. But if you go back to when we were linked to Amrabat, we signed Amrabat on loan, and this is my theory. The British press were reporting that there's no way we're going in for Amrabat. The Italian press were talking that it's going to happen. I think that personally there was a disagreement between the scouting staff and Ten Hag over Amrabat, and that's why we got him on loan. I think that the club do have 20 million to sign, but once again, I think that what we've done is we put too much power in the hands of a manager, and it's something we've done going all well. I mean, we did it all the way back with Ferguson, but we did it with Louis van Gaal, we did it with Mourinho, we did it with Ollie, and it means that we have these legacy costs of players that aren't suited for certain things.
Yeah.
And I think that what I would like to see from the takeover is a complete break with the past. I'm not over the moon that Fergie is being involved in the process. I'd like to see his influence purged from the club.
I think Ratcliffe is using that because he knows that there's a lot of fans who still aren't happy. I think he's using that part of it. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm being cynical. I think he's using that part of it maybe to get, fans on side a little bit more.
Yeah, I also think that Ratcliffe is meant to be a Man United fan, and I believe that he's a sports fan and a football fan, and he grew up in Manchester, so it makes sense he's a Manchester United fan. And I think he might be a little bit starstruck by Ferguson. I'm not necessarily agreeing with you that it's such a cynical ploy to get Fergie involved. There is that part of it. But I think that he's just delighted to speak to Fergie. In a sort of a position of kind of peers. And what we know about Ferguson is he is a master some would say manipulator, some would say motivator, and stuff like that. But I think that when Fergie gets in your ear, you listen, and it worms its way in there. And this is why we've got the Doogie Friedman links. And Doogie, like Dora, I mean, Crystal Palace and that South London production line is nothing to be laughed at. Best players in London, for some reason, have come out of South London. I don't know what it is.
The cages that they play in.
Yeah. Well, we need to put. Well, I mean, they've caged Sancho, so he's back to where he started, I guess. But I let us know in the comments if you think that ETH will survive the takeover, because personally, I don't see it. I think that when you look at. Okay, after this.
Sorry.
Yeah, I personally think that he don't, and I'm so sorry. We've missed so many comments. I'll just have a quick look now. UK Strains is saying we have no style of play. Dora, is he right?
I think we are trying to do something, but it doesn't work.
What are we trying to do?
We are trying to have a style of play, but I mean, we cannot string 2 passes normally. So maybe not 100% style of play, I would say.
Okay. Mr. B, look, this is Andrew. I knew this was coming. He saw Anthony play for 2 years and sanctioned his purchase. That's job-losing levels of incompetency. And then, yeah, go on. Do you have anything to say on Anthony?
No, I don't. I've wanted to back Anthony for so long, but you look at him every week, man. He's got nothing.
Yeah,
He's got nothing. Yeah, I don't think he's going to improve. I don't see how he's suddenly going to become this player that we need. So no, I think that was a definite mistake. And look, as I said, if that's going to be his legacy, then it will be. If that's going to be the one that gets him the sack or lets him lose his job, then yeah. But that's somebody who we've definitely lost a whole load of money on, because even at 50 million, he wouldn't have been a good signing. You know what I mean? So yeah, we're struggling. Oh look, Solo's in the house.
Is he? Well, let's see what Solo is saying. 100% right, no style of play. Do you know what, Dora? Solo used to be the most positive person you'd ever meet. He made OMONDI look like a stoic, and now he's just so negative. But one thing that I've been wondering about Anthony with is so when you have a winger, it doesn't matter if they're inverted or traditional. Their job is to hold width, right? That's why they're a winger. Anthony is bloody useless in wide areas. He doesn't have the power or the strength to get past his man. You always see him trying to get his arm across someone, and it's park football stuff. And that ETH should have known that from training with him, that you can't be doing that. But I wonder if Anthony might be all right if he plays more inside as a 10 or an 8, because I know he's not good enough on the wing. Yeah. I know he's not good enough on the wing, Mr. B. He's not Manchester United quality on the wing. So if I was at the football club in training and in reserve games, I'd try him at 10 or 8 in the interior positions and just see if he can do something there, because I know he can't do it on the wing. He doesn't have the power. He doesn't receive the ball correctly. His body shape's all wrong. You look at Saka, Mahrez, even this mad Norwegian that plays for Man City called Bob. They all look much better when they get the ball because they've got their angles right. Anthony doesn't have his angles right. He just ball rolls. So he's trying to beat people on straight lines without having any pace. It's crazy. But anyway, comments. Stephanie Griffiths is saying changing the manager would be a backward step again. Give him at least till the end of this season and assess then, in my opinion. I don't think anyone has any disagreements with that. No. MUFC Realist TV. That's quite a mouthful. Dora, you got me with the old Yugoslavian buildings. solid concrete. My parents are from the Balkans, used to spend summers in there. These buildings are hot, hot, hot. Well, I'm really pleased that we got some constructive stuff from there. We got Big G, oi oi Savaloy. And Andy is saying, I'm not suggesting sacking him, but I'm not going to forgive him for Anthony very quickly. That's good. And then is there anything else there? Solo saying, I've called it from day one. Anthony is rubbish. The football is killing me. That's why Ten Hag has lost it. We might as well have had Ollie at the wheel. And then Big
Fred's
G
gone
saying,
and he just doesn't care anymore.
do you think that's what it is? Like Sadora, like Mr. B loved Fred beyond.
Who loved Fred?
Oh, sorry. Solo loved Fred.
Oh, right.
And he's just gone.
Yeah.
But anyway, sorry, I shouldn't have showed that. Zoe, please, like, come on, like, control yourself, please. I would have given him 5 games on the left wing. I don't want, like, look, I don't want to have to talk to you lot like kids, but don't comment on people's physical appearances ever. If you want to comment on something, talk about what they've got in the background, such as that picture of Erik Ten Hag on Mr. B's wall, which has remained despite a 7-0 loss against Liverpool.
Okay, but he's not delicious.
Well, okay, great stuff. I'm glad you speak with such confidence on the matter. Looks like a cornetto.
I mean, Erik Ten Hag is delicious.
Erik Ten Hag. Yeah.
Oh,
We've drifted up. Listen, we need to get on with these topics. We've been waffling, and we still haven't even got onto what we came on the show to talk about. So we've done Ineos and we've waffled. We now need to go. What was our next topic? Our injury list. Guys, I've got an injury list now. We're top of the league of injuries at the moment. So we are actually the top of something. If you can see here, it's got Arsenal on 9, Aston Villa on 10, Bournemouth on 7, Brentford on 11, Brighton on 10, Burnley on 9, Chelsea 12, Crystal Palace 13, Everton 7, Fulham 10, Liverpool 9, Luton 8, Man City 7, Manchester United 14, Newcastle 14, Nottingham Forest 13, Sheffield United 13, Tottenham 9, West Ham 5, Wolves 6. So the averages are 9.8. But we were trying to work out who our injuries were. I said, look, everybody's been moaning about injuries. Well, that's a lie. I don't know if everybody has been. I know we as fans have been moaning about ours, but I haven't heard
Did
too
you not see
much.
Trippier?
No, I don't. When did he get injured?
No, he had a confrontation with Newcastle fans after a defeat.
Oh, yes, he did. Yeah, the bitch.
Look,
yeah, but if that was one of our players,
stop swearing.
Sorry, if that was one of our players doing that, they would have killed us. If that was one of our players, they would have killed us.
Didn't Lingard do it? Like 2 years ago, we lost against City, and Lingard had a confrontation with fans saying, like, "I'm not on the pitch. What do you want from me?"
Well, that's different. He was. Well,
to be fair, he was in the right.
Yeah.
There,
you can't moan.
Yeah.
Right. So we were working out what our injuries were. I'm going to assume. I know we've got a few back. Obviously we know Shaw's back. That we'll discuss in a minute. But do we have the 14? Were we close to the 14? Guys in the chat, do you know any idea what the 14 were? Could Hydro what?
Oh, like Hydro's just. I was just showing it because he's turned up in chat, but he's got man flu.
Oh, man flu. Got a cold.
It's a man cold.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm just wondering. Are we on the verge of getting? It's always how you end the season and not how you start the season. I mean, obviously, the beginning of the season, we've been killed with injuries. Do you think now, maybe with them coming back, we're going to improve, or do you think we're still just going to be as shit as we were, as bad as we were?
Thank you. I don't want to be the censor, but like Solo's watching. I feel responsibility for both your potty mouths. Calling Ronaldo a prick earlier, my lord. No, I personally, right, I think that where we've been hit the hardest with injuries is with our left feet. We are crying out for a left footer in the back. Like Lindelof, when he's like sort of played the left back or left half, Maguire, Varane, all these people, we're missing like a natural left footer to be able to sort of open the pitch up more. It's really killing us, that lack of a left foot. Like when we've shown graphs of average player positions after matches, a lot of the time we've seen Lindelof on the same line as Rashford, which is this is not good because it means that the angles aren't there. And unfortunately, with Ten Hag's system, he's so dogmatic with it that he wouldn't change it until his job got on the line, and now he has changed it, and we've apparently somehow with a form team in the Premier League. But on the other hand, if you look at the average there of 9.8, I'll say that's 10. That's an entire outfield team injured on average for every single team. So I don't think it changes a huge amount because every other team is dealing with this as well. City have got De Bruyne out, their best player. And they're still absolutely fine. It's I don't think that I don't know. Does Luke Shaw coming back change anything, Dora?
I think so.
I mean, it kind of does, but I mean, I've been discouraged by his first two games before he got injured because him and Rashford on that left side have been poor. They have been poor in those two games against Wolverhampton, and who did we play the second game? I can't remember, but I remember them two, being quite poor. But at the end of the day, I think that, as you said, Bedtime, I think that we need a left footer on that side, and I think that he is our best left back. He will overlap more. He would bring the wind on the team or angles in the team that we need. And I hope that he, even during this, injury-driven last few months, I hope that, he would play better because those first two games of the season have been quite poor from that left side. So I hope he comes back and actually changes something. Do I believe that he will fundamentally change the way we play? I don't think so. I think that we still need someone like Martinez who is consistently, direct, helping his team with his direct passes and actually, having productive passes to the midfield or the attack, because I haven't seen that. Maybe because of except at times Evans and Maguire they have been doing those direct or passes to the midfield,
Breaking the lines.
Breaking the lines. Thank you. I don't think I don't think Varane has been doing it at all because, as we all know, he is quite poor with his passes.
He breaks our own lines.
Yeah, unfortunately, yes. Which I'm so sad about it, but it is what it is. And yeah, Lindelof. I'm actually surprised that Lindelof, who always has been, one of our best on the ball players or center backs before in the past, all of a sudden he cannot, I would say, do his job and actually do it consistently. But I would say that he's, playing it safe. I think he's been out of form. I think he's playing it safe right now, and that he is getting bullied every single game that he's playing. And I think that is affecting his own ball game during.
Is this Lindelof?
Yes, Lindelof.
Do you know what I miss about Lindelof, Dora?
Yeah.
Is that old Rashford Lindelof connection.
Exactly. Those long balls. Yeah.
Yeah, that we haven't seen that for a while. I think probably, like, unless Mr. B's got something to say, he appears to have gone to sleep. I'm going to do some comments. So Solo is saying every club has injuries, Mr. B. We as United fans are making up too many excuses
Don't
for
we?
our dead football we play.
Don't put we in this, because all of a sudden it's like he's not a Man United fan.
Yeah,
So no, don't
shoot
put
the messenger.
I'll shoot solo. Don't worry.
Look, he's a policeman now. That's an offence. So Andrew Williams saying Leacher, Malacia, Shaw, Casemiro, Varane, Mainu, minimum. I don't know. This is a good point from Radtrap. Luke Shaw can play left centre back too, and Mr. B, there won't be any changes in how we play. Dead football is dead football. Is that a dead man talking, Mr. B?
No, he's not going anywhere. I'm confident. You know, it's Matt. This would be the one that I'd be really upset with. Ollie, I was pissed when Ollie left, but this one would. If we sack Ten Hag, then I will really
more
be
than
pissed
Ollie.
off. Yeah, Ollie's time. I thought Ollie's time was up. I honestly thought Ollie's time was up. I stuck with him. Ollie broke my resistance. But no, I couldn't take Ten Hag. I just don't think he's been backed, and I just don't think he's had the time to do what he wants to do with the team. So
fair enough. I just loved Ollie. Like it broke my heart, but it was the Watford game that really did it for me. Where
was that the 4-1?
Yeah, Maguire got sent off.
Yeah, and threw an armband when he got sent off.
Yeah, what a diva.
Yeah.
Zoe's saying that she's missed Luke Shaw and he should improve the left side of the pitch.
I think so.
Lucha will give us more fire. He's the only guy that will make a difference. Will also allow Varane to play more. Normally, I'd agree with Andrew here, but like Martinez was shocking, and at the start of the season.
Yeah, but I think he was playing with a broken foot. Bath time.
His defending in wide areas, Mr. B, worried me tremendously.
What? Because he didn't go over there quick enough?
No, because like when you're like. So to get technical, when you're defending in wide areas, you need to match your stride to the player that you're playing against, which is why people like Rudiger, for example, are like almost unicorns in football because they can do long strides and they can also do little sort of ballet dancer tippy-tappy strides. So it's like the difference between facing Darwin Núñez, who can only do long strides, and Salah, who can do little steps. You need to be able to match the steps that the guy is doing. I know it sounds ridiculous, but I don't think Martinez's legs are long to be an effective defender against more powerful runners out wide. And I've seen it. I saw it all this season where he wasn't playing as a box defender. Last year he was a box defender. Because we played a much lower line, as Dora would have seen on the show we did where we compared the lines. But this year, he's been playing higher up, which means he has more space to cover. That space is outside. I don't think he's technically good enough to defend wide areas. And I also felt that he fell off tremendously after the World Cup, which I'll give him a pass for because he won it. And I would get drunk for a month if I won the World Cup. I'd do it if it was on Champ Man. I'd do it as well. But yeah, I'm a bit concerned about Martinez. Now Rajat has said something here, Dora, which always plays on my mind. Luke Shaw is an average left back. He's been here 9 to 10 years and he's not that good. Is this fair?
I think when he's on form, he's one of the best left backs in the Premier League. I think that what really bothers me about his play is that, and I know people are going to get on my head and, oh my God, we are not like for example, you see other left backs, like we don't even have to compare Luke Shaw to Trent Alexander-Arnold because they're not the same players. They're not the same fullbacks. They do not necessarily dictate their whole team's gameplay like Trent does. And that's not his role at the end of the day, even though he is important in Ten Hag's system. But that's not his role. I think that someone like Trippier, for example, I think him and Shaw are, kind of, similar, I would say. Maybe they're more closer to each other in the way they play and what they offer to the team. But, and the lack of assists, Yeah, I wish he would go much for more up the pitch. I wish he would shoot more. I wish he assisted more. And I know people. Oh my god! But these are the fullbacks of today. I mean, they were always like that. I mean, we remember, the likes of Roberto Carlos, Cafu, blah blah. They were always important parts of the gameplay, and they were always a big parts of what they provide to the attack, and with of course the defense, but the attack as well. And I don't think that during his 10 years in this club, he was the most expensive teenager at one point in the world. Chelsea wanted him. He was a wonder kid. He was, English up and coming new talent after the likes of Ashley Cole and the others. But to me, I don't think he ever reached that. I know that 2 seasons ago he was regarded, or last season, 2 seasons ago or last season, he was regarded as one of the best left backs. He had that one good season under Mourinho after Mourinho said to him that he is weak and blah blah blah. And he all of a sudden started playing. He became what I think he was voted as the best United player of the year. But that is 2-3 years. I would forgive him too for a season because he broke his leg, and I think that is a traumatic experience for any player. But after that, come on, my man, you need to step up. You need to step up.
Do you know what worries me, Dora?
Yeah.
Cavani and Ronaldo. Those are two of the best penalty box strikers Europe has seen for 20 years. Shaw hasn't played with with Mopai or someone like that. He's played with Cavani and Ronaldo, and we haven't seen consistent threat coming from his deliveries. You compare them to Trippier. Trippier, I think, has probably got more assists in his last 2 seasons than Shaw has in his career. I don't know that for a fact, but
yeah.
And I think my issue with Shaw is that I think the fact he's English saves him a lot on the basis that he's homegrown, and it's very important to have that in the squad. But I don't think, even though he's had 2 or 3 great seasons, I don't think he's shown enough to be a modern fullback. Fullback for me has always been one of the most important positions in football because it's the person who gets the ball the most and sees the most of the pitch, which is I don't want to bring up the Paul Pogba stuff, but that was one of the reasons why I wanted Paul Pogba to play right back, and why I was excited about Amrabat coming in. But we need to do comments because we've really waffled a lot tonight. Andrew Williams, you're muted again this week.
I've started.
Oh, wicked. Okay, he was decent last year. The season before, he was pony, which doesn't mean very good. It's funny when Bath Time goes into Spanish mode when pronouncing Spanish names. I am half Spanish, so I don't know if that's a mode or not. Give Luke Shaw... Shut up, Sola. Okay, Zoe's saying give Luke Shaw the captain as well. Yes, it's fair. He has more bad seasons than good ones. 100% my captain. Take it off Bruno. Blimey. Rory, 30 assists in 294 games. We have no one providing assists down the left. Time for an upgrade. I kind of agree. I kind of agree with that, to be honest. Thank you for getting the stats. Luke Shaw, no hunger to be a top professional footballer. There's a joke in there, but I'm not going to make it. Name me another left-back of Luke Shaw's quality that won't cost 80 million plus. I'd give Luke a new contract now. He isn't anyone's fave, but he is one of the best in the Premier League. I think he's capable of being one of the best in the Premier League. I'm not sure if he is. And then Bath Time heard a stat the other day saying that Luke Shaw has 17 assists in 9 seasons at Manchester United. So that's not even 2 assists a season.
He's a left back. Our left back, is this what it is now? Is this what it's got to? That left we're counting on left backs and left right backs' ability for stuff that midfielders and stuff should be doing.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Jesus Christ!
Look at the fullbacks that Dora named: Carlos, Cafu. What do you think that they were there? Getting in. Ashley Cole, absolutely. In fact, he was a striker, like before he became a left back. You look at look at
Robert Yarni.
Robert Yarni, Coventry's favourite like, fullback. It's like fullbacks, right? Because they operate in wide areas and they get so much of the ball. They have to be creative, and the thing is, right, is that you typically have one fullback that plays in a back three when you're in possession, and the other one goes forward. And I don't know, but I think Delot probably will carry more of a threat as a fullback than Shaw will, because Shaw's got 2 assists a season for 10 years, and I'm not sure that he made Rashford play better. I still think it was Martial that made Rashford play better, but I've just seen the time. You're on mute again, Mr. B.
Yeah, I got a lot of background noise, so I had to be muting it. I keep forgetting to switch it back on, to be fair. So apologies. We've hit the hour mark. I don't even know if we got for anything, but it doesn't matter. We spoke for an hour. We had Dora talking about bits falling on her head and nearly dying. We've had people in the hat say this hot. We've had Solo praying for the Fred return. Yeah, it's been an eventful show tonight. I'll be back tomorrow. We are back tomorrow. More takeover news, probably bath time. Good Lord.
Yeah.
Oh God.
Yeah, let's get back. Let's roll on the weekend so we can talk about the Everton game, man. Bloody hell. I this international break. This one has been a hard one. This one's been a hard one. But look, guys, we've hit the hour mark anyway, so we will be gone. Dora, as always, thank you very much. We didn't get you too mad today. I like when you really swear, but Solo was on, so I'm glad that you kept to swearing to a minimum.
No, I just said a P word, nothing else. Solo, please don't be mad. I only said a P word, and I think most of this chat agrees. He was a P.
Yeah, he was. We're gonna call him something else, but yeah, he was. Half time as always, man. Thank you very much, my friend. Yeah. Guys in the chat, I keep saying that you don't have to be here. We appreciate the fact that you were, and we know England were playing, and you guys were still here. So thank you. We will be back tomorrow at 9 o'clock to discuss all things Man United. We are out. We'll see you all tomorrow. Thanks for watching.